Video game sequels are always trying to move things forward, to introduce new characters, new mechanics, and give players new places to explore. See, completely different to Green Hill Zone. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Some video game locations, however, prove to be so iconic, so beloved, so ingrained in the fabric of a series that developers have no choice but to let players revisit them in sequels, either shedding new light on them and adding to their lore, or just letting players take a rose-tinted nostalgia tour. Here then are 7 video game sequels that let you revisit iconic locations from previous games in the series. Enjoy, and beware spoilers ahead for the following games.
Take who you want.
Well, I usually use these two.
Hey, remember all those jobs we did together? Huh? You and me, Carl, remember? Huh? You know, you used to call me Killer Ken. Ken the Killer? Ice Cold Ken. That's me.
And him too, I guess.
While the first couple of Grand Theft Auto games were popular, it was Grand Theft Auto 3 that really catapulted the series into the stratosphere, by somehow cramming an entire richly detailed city into a PS2 game.
The police and emergency services deal with the aftermath of a devastating attack on a police convoy this morning.
That city was the New York-inspired Liberty City, home to skyscrapers, warring gangs, and some of the unluckiest pedestrians yet seen in a video game. The series moved on with the Miami-inspired Vice City and then the sunny West Coast-based GTA San Andreas, which took place across Los Santos, San Fierro, and Las Venturas. Rockstar clearly retained a lot of fondness for the 3D OG GTA, however, as we can see in the San Andreas mission, St. Mark's Bistro. Given to you by one of the Leone Mafia family out of Las Venturas, St. Mark's Bistro is on the face of it a fairly standard assassination job.
How would you like to hit the St. Mark's Bistro?
A hit in Liberty City? Cool, but I'm gonna need some backup.
The twist is that the job itself takes place 3,000 miles away from Las Venturas in our beloved Liberty City, last seen in GTA 3. Because you're a GTA protagonist and therefore unfathomably skilled and resourceful, you grab yourself a mid-sized business jet from the airport and then fly it yourself coast to coast for a nostalgic trip to where this whole 3D Grand Theft Auto thing started. A long plane ride and a short cab ride later, you're back in Liberty City, in the St. Mark's district, ready to gun down an entire restaurant full of Italian mobsters, just like the good old days of Grand Theft Auto 3. You even get to see some snow, something sorely missing from the deserts around Las Venturas. Kill everyone in the restaurant and it's back to San Andreas to finish the mission. While it may be short, it's still a nice trip down memory lane. Unless you're one of the 12 mobsters we just shot dead. They'd probably have preferred you to stay on the West Coast.
Driver San Francisco has hands down one of the weirdest premises in a driving game ever. In this game, latest in the series that kicked off in 1997, lead character Tanner spends the entirety of the game in a sort of magical coma that allows him to leave his physical body and shift into the body of anyone who is also in a vehicle on the streets of SF.
You alright? Steady! That guy's in pretty bad shape back there. Damn it, Ray! What the hell are you doing? What are you stopping for?
It's either a unique and inspired gameplay mechanic, or they just couldn't be bothered to animate a guy getting out and running around. With a concept that is already quite the noodle baker, it's probably totally unnecessary to also introduce time travel to the mix. And yet that's exactly what Driver San Francisco does. Buy the DeLorean, famous for being the time machine in Back to the Future, and hit 88 miles per hour, like in the film, and you'll unlock a challenge called Blast from the Past. Start the challenge and the game will transport you to the location where we spent 90% of our time with the very first Driver game, which is to say, the parking garage where the tutorial takes place. In the original Driver, the parking garage was the scene of a notoriously exacting tutorial challenge designed to test your skills behind the wheel.
car, man!
It might just be the Stockholm Syndrome talking, but it gave us a warm, nostalgic feeling inside to be presented with a parking garage, a vintage stopwatch, and some driving stunts to perform arranged in a hastily scribbled list. What a coincidence! My shopping list also involves donuts. And if you were under any illusion as to how difficult the original driver tutorial mission is, even 7-time Formula 1 world champion and empirically one of the best drivers on the planet, Lewis Hamilton, can't complete the dang thing.
Timer now. Damn it, I can't get past this first stage.
So that means if I can complete it right now, I am officially a better driver than Lewis Hamilton.
Maybe I'll give you a call when I need a ride to the grocery store.
Yeah, you know what? Never mind.
If you played through the original Dead Space, no one could blame you for not wanting to set foot on the USG Ishimura, the gigantic spaceship on which the whole game takes place, ever again, on account of all the unpleasantness. Yes, that kind of thing. And while Dead Space 2 is no picnic either... Isaac! Isaac Clarke, if you can hear me, run! Run! Yes, that kind of thing. At least you're not on the Ishimura. Or are you? Because Dead Space knows what an incredible location its original spaceship was, they couldn't resist sending you back there towards the back half of the sequel. A decision that is as mean as it is brilliant, because there's just nothing else that can match having to head back into a ship you know is nothing but bad news when it comes to sheer unadulterated dread.
Are you okay? You sound a little nervous.
Last time I was here, things didn't go so well. Look, I'll contact you soon.
As you'd expect, main character Isaac isn't thrilled at having to revisit the site of the most traumatic incidents of his life, and as such your journey through the Ishimura is accompanied by horrifying hallucinations, which don't make things more pleasant, if we're honest.
Where are you going, Isaac? Do you still think I've got something you can avoid?
That said, for fans of the series, it's a real treat to revisit your old stomping grounds. Yeah, a lot of stomping is our advice. Gotta make sure they're really dead.
Regrettably, I could do nothing to prevent the disaster which devastated Tristram. It would appear that our greatest fears have come to pass. Diablo, the Lord of Terror, has once again been set loose upon the world.
The old saying goes, there's no place like home. And if, like the hero of Diablo 1, your home is Tristram, which sits atop a dungeon that goes all the way to hell, that's probably a good thing. The entire first Diablo game technically takes place in the small village of Tristram, home to a bunch of villagers with accents of varying quality.
Well, what can I do for you? If you're looking for a good weapon, let me show this to you. Take your basic blunt weapon, such as a mace. Works like a charm against most of those undying horrors down there, and there's nothing better to shatter skinny little skeletons!
I say it technically all takes place there because rather than exploring across the landscape, you'll venture deep below this one settlement, through levels and levels of dungeons until you reach the lair of the Dark Lord, who can only be defeated by one thing: lots and lots of mouse clicking. Who knew that the Dark Lord's greatest and most dreaded ally was repetitive strain injury? Diablo ends with the unnamed hero triumphantly killing the Lord of Terror and jamming the demon's soulstone into his forehead in an attempt to control the evil within it, with predictably terrible results. Why not just drop it in the lava? It was right there. Thus begins Diablo 2. The original hero has torn off on a rampage, demons are roaming the world, and it's up to a new hero to clean up the mess. Diablo 2 is a much more expansive game, but you'll no doubt be wondering what happened to the hub location you spent so much time in over the course of the first game. Fortunately, during Act 1, you'll use a portal to return to Tristram to rescue a character called Cain.
Cain would likely be dead when you arrived. However, there is a magical portal that will take you there instantly.
When you return to Tristram, it's not exactly the same way you remember it. The layout of the village is exactly the same, but the entire place has been overrun by undead monsters.
Help!
And when I say the layout is exactly the same, that's right down to corpses placed in each of the spots where NPCs used to hang out in the first game. Though if you think that's bad, look at what happened to that Scottish guy, Griswold. I know his accent was bad, but he didn't deserve this.
Look.
Fontaine's. Ryan sent the whole thing to the bottom.
But it's a prison now. Why would Cohen have sent Sally there?
I don't know.
While BioShock Infinite's Columbia is a fantastic location in its own right, thanks to its plentiful statues, abundant hot dog carts, and jet-powered barbershop quartets, there's no BioShock location more iconic than Rapture, the Randian utopia at the bottom of the ocean with more leaks than a Marvel movie script. It's clear that BioShock's developers love Rapture as much as we do, which is why they decided to revisit this iconic location in the BioShock Infinite DLC, Burial at Sea, which takes Booker and Elizabeth to the soggy city from the original game.
Well, you gotta name this?
Elizabeth.
The great thing about this DLC is that, thanks to some wonderfully hand-wavy quantum weirdness, it all takes place before Rapture fell apart, so we get to see what the city was like when it was still a functioning society and not a walk-through aquarium full of murderers.
If we were all made from common clay, then Einstein would have remained a patent clerk.
As such, Burial at Sea fills in some key gaps in BioShock lore.
But I thought Andrew Ryan was all about free markets and open competition.
All those ideas lose their luster when the quarterly earnings come in and you find the other guys eating your lunch.
The DLC also draws fascinating parallels between Rapture and Columbia, such as between Fink, the industrialist who built Songbird, and Sushong, the scientist who created Big Daddies.
Plasmids, Vigors. He and Fink must have been in communication, sharing secrets.
It feels a bit like peeking behind the curtain of BioShock 1 before its protagonist Jack steps on the scene. Although if I were you, I'd avoid peeking behind curtains in Rapture. You never know what you're going to find.
I see suffering in you. I know how to shine a light on your pain. A moth will become a butterfly.
Hold on, Claire. I'll save you.
Much like carcinization, the evolutionary phenomenon where everything eventually evolves into a crab, so too does every building in a Resident Evil game eventually resemble a mansion. I mean, how else do you explain the police station looking like this? Have you ever seen a police station Resident Evil? Usually way less marble and polished oak. But even with so many mansions to choose from across its many installments, there's no mansion more beloved in the Resident Evil series than the original game's Spencer Mansion, in which Alpha Team spent one harrowing night in 1998.
Chris? Take care.
Fans of the series will no doubt be intimately familiar with the Spencer Mansion's layout, which is why it's such an amazing mind in Resident Evil Code Veronica when, playing as Chris Redfield, you go through a door in an Antarctic research facility and find yourself in none other than the Spencer Mansion.
Claire, I'll take care of you now.
Okay, it's not actually the Spencer Mansion, rather a detailed replica built into this Antarctic facility, but anyone who played the original will know their way around immediately, even if it isn't entirely clear why this is here. I mean, apart from to provide a cool backdrop for you getting attacked by monsters, sure. This isn't even the only time the series does this. Resident Evil 5's Lost in Nightmares DLC takes place in flashback as Jill and Chris explore Spencer's new mansion, which for some reason looks exactly like his old mansion, because this guy apparently really loves this one kind of mansion.
Kinda takes you back, doesn't it?
I wouldn't be reminiscing so fondly about this place if I were these two, but you do you, Jill.
The nuclear disposal facility on Shadow Moses hasn't been touched since the incident.
That was 9 years ago.
There were Metal Gear games before 1998's Metal Gear Solid, but they looked like this. Then Metal Gear Solid came along and looked like this. And so Solid Snake earned a spot on the Mount Rushmore of gaming, and the stage was set for hundreds of Instagram photos of celebrities standing next to a fiberglass spaceman. So all I have to do to get a selfie with Chalamet is create an award-winning multi-million-dollar game franchise. I'll get right on it. The original Metal Gear Solid takes place in an island-based weapons facility called Shadow Moses, a cold, grey, inhospitable place inhabited by some of the stupidest guards in the history of guarding. Despite that, Shadow Moses is an iconic and beloved location, so fans were delighted to discover that it makes a return in Metal Gear Solid 4 when Snake heads to the island to stop Liquid Ocelot from stealing the railgun from Metal Gear Rex. What follows is a love letter to the original Metal Gear Solid, as you get to explore all your old haunts from the game in a brand new, much better looking engine. If that weren't enough pleasant nostalgia, the level also includes flashbacks from Snake's first time here.
How's that sneaking suit working out?
I'm nice and dry, but it's a little hard to move.
A sniper battle in the same place as your fight with Sniper Wolf in Metal Gear Solid. And of course, a fist fight on top of Metal Gear Rex, as is tradition. Has it been a year already? You know, Shadow Moses staff, you should probably put a bike lock on that thing or something, otherwise this is gonna keep happening.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And talking of revisiting iconic things, how about revisiting some videos that we made a little while ago? There's one up here from us and one down here from our sister channel, Outside Extra. And if you'd like to support what we do, head to patreon.com/oxclub to join our Patreon and hang out in our fan Discord. Hope to see you there.